worried about around the NBA.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do every weekday afternoon, right here on ESPN Radio, 98.7 FM New York, 710 ESPN LA, and of course, ESPN Radio, Sirius XM, Channel 80. 866-729-ESPN is always the number to call up. That's 866-729-3776. What a game! What a game! Unbelievable. I got to tell you something right now. I picked the New England Patriots to win this game, but I'm not going to front. I was damn close to giving up on them. I pretty much thought they were done 28-3, specifically after that pick six by Tom Brady. I didn't know what was going on. To say that I was shell-shocked doesn't even begin to describe the emotions that were resonating with me. I got to tell y'all, I didn't see it coming. I mean, Atlanta came out, first of all, the way Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman were running the football. My attitude was give them the ball all damn day. All day. Why are we wasting time? Give them the ball. Give them the ball, let them run it down New England's throat because these boys are running at will. And then as the game progressed and you saw these boys, whether it was Jarrett or Freeman or whomever, I mean, the way Upshur, the way they were getting that Tom Brady putting a hat on them, I said, good Lord have mercy. Look at these boys in Atlanta. Flat out studs, men amongst boys. This dude Mason on New England's offensive line, the same dude that got ran over constantly by Von Miller in last year's AFC Championship game, was getting beat up. And I said, Tom Brady don't have a prayer. You got guys that are all over him. You've got guys that are just sitting there. I mean, they are breathing down his neck. They were all over him. They look like studs. You got Deion Jones. I mean, he shows up. And I just sat there and said to myself, my Lord, what's going to happen? When he stripped LeGarrette Blount and they scored in the red zone, actually it was at the 25-yard line, but they scored from there, I just said to myself, what the hell is going on? What is New England going to do? And then that pick six to put them up 21-3. I said, Lord, this is so bad right now. I don't even know what to say. Actually, it was a pick six that put them up 21-0 because Alford picked off, I mean, he watched Brady's eyes, stepped in front of the pass, picked it off, returned it 82 yards. Atlanta goes up 21-0. And then ultimately, in the third quarter with 8 minutes and 31 seconds left, they go up 28-3 after Coleman got a 6-yard pass from Matt Ryan. And I just said, this is over. This is over. Even after New England scored, but then did convert the extra point, then they were down 28-9 instead of 28-3. I still thought it was over. And then what happens? You got this strip sack because Devontae Freeman missed blocking Dante Hightower. He strip sacked Matt Ryan. New England got the ball back. Actually, that was after Gostkowski's 33-yard field goal. But New England got the ball back, ultimately would end up scoring. You pull it within 28-20, and all of a sudden, everything's getting tight. And then I started thinking about my analogy. The expertise from the non-football expert, which is me, coming at you. I just said, I started recalling exactly what I had been saying all last week while in Houston. And I kept saying last week, look, y'all, if Atlanta's going to win this game, it's got to be a blowout. The tighter it gets, I got questions about these young brothers in their secondary. Alford, Collins, Allen, Neal. The list goes on and on. Jarrett, Beasley, Campbell, Jones, all of them were all over Tom Brady. But I just said to myself, you know something? What are they going to do? Because now that the game is getting tight, you got young dudes in your secondary on the biggest sports stage in the world going up against a 39-year-old in Tom Brady, who's playing in his 7th Super Bowl, having already won 4, being a 3-time Super Bowl MVP at the moment, and on top of it all, he's playing some spectacular football. What are you going to do? And essentially, ladies and gentlemen, essentially, for the last 20 to 23 minutes, Tom Brady was pretty close to perfect. Pretty close to perfect. And Atlanta had no answer. At some point in time, they just looked like a deer in headlights. Let's call it like we see it, y'all. Let's not hide from this. They looked like a deer in headlights. We can slice it any way we want to. That's what this came down to. They look like a deer in headlights. They look completely in over their head. They just look like they didn't have it, man. They look like they didn't have it. We can slice it any way we want to. That's what this comes down to. And then ultimately, when Tom Brady sits there and drives you downfield and connects with Amendola on that 6-yard pass to pull it within 28-20, you're Atlanta. You still have hope. You got the lead, first of all. Secondly, you come right down the field. That spectacular pass by Julio Jones put you in a position where all you had to do was run the ball. Why? Because Matt Bryant, between 35 and 45 yards over the last couple of years, has hit 24 of his last 25 field goals from that distance. That's basically money, y'all. All you got to do is run the ball twice. 3 times. You don't gain any yardage, you kick the field goal. You're up 11, chances are you win this game because New England needs 2 possessions within that minimal amount of time, and as a result, they're not going to have much time because the clock is working against them. The Atlanta Falcons depart Super Bowl champions. But what the hell happens? Julio Jones, spectacular pass, tap dancing down the right sideline the way that he did. It was perfectly defensed, by the way. He just went up and got it. Next play, run and play to Devontae Freeman, -1 yard. What does Kyle Shanahan do? What does Dan Quinn, the head coach for the Atlanta Falcons, allow his offensive coordinator to do? Matt Ryan does a 7, what did he say? Drop back 7 steps. 7! A 7-step drop back. Gets sacked, loses 12 yards, puts them out of field goal range. And once that happened, you ultimately ended up having a punt because you couldn't get all that yardage back on 3rd down. And that gives Brady the ball with over 3 minutes left. Tom Brady, considered the greatest quarterback of this generation, at the very least, has the ball with over 3 minutes left, in position to tie with a touchdown on a 2-point conversion. You trying to tell me them young fellas was ready for that moment? Hell no, they weren't. And that's exactly what we saw transpire. Tom Brady marched them right downfield. White runs in from 1 yard out. They get the 2-point conversion. They tie it up. And then there's overtime. And by that time, we all knew it was over. The second the coin toss was won by New England because they would keep the ball, and as a result, Tom Brady wasn't going to let them get the ball back, even though that defense for New England showed up. Because if you take away the fumble from LeGarrette Blount, if you take away the pick 6 from Tom Brady, that defense held Atlanta to 14 points. 14 points. Which brings in the question which brings into focus a whole bunch of questions. Tom Brady deserved to be the MVP, or did James White deserve it? How are you feeling about Matt Ryan right now? Who do you blame most for Atlanta for this loss? Or do you not even think about that because you want to pass all the credit along to the New England Patriots? Whole bunch of questions. I've got some answers. You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show, Sirius XM, ESPN Radio, Channel 80. 98.7 FM, 710 ESPN LA. 866-729-ESPN is always the number to call up. That's 866-729-3776. By the way, The biggest medical center on earth isn't found on the East Coast or the West Coast. It's found in Houston, Texas, America's third coast. Houston is home to the Texas Medical Center, or as they call it, TMC. It's the largest medical city on the planet. Each year, the TMC's 21 hospitals serve over 8 million patients. Its 3 medical schools and 6 nursing schools educate tomorrow's medical leaders. More doctors, nurses, and scientists work at the TMC than any other site in the world. With over 100,000 employees, it's the 8th largest business district in America. Every 3 minutes, a surgery begins at TMC. Every 20 minutes, a baby is born. The Texas Medical Center leads the world in clinical research. TMC doctors and scientists are at the forefront of life-saving medical advances, developing new treatments, drugs, and devices to improve the health of humanity. So find out more about the innovations happening at the Texas Medical Center, or as they call it, TMC. That's at tmc.edu. Your calls and more in a minute with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio.
Hey, listeners, this week on the Low Post podcast, we have Chris Herring from 538 talking Carmelo Anthony and the Knicks and the teams we're worried about around the NBA.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
What a great Super Bowl. What a great game. This is something that I'm ready to tell y'all right now. I walked into last night's game. Let me tell you what a profound effect last night's game, Super Bowl 51 in Houston, had on me. For years, I've been saying, I don't care how great Tom Brady is. I'm not putting him over Joe Montana. That changed last night. See, for me, it's seeing the Montana moment. It's witnessing Tom Brady getting the football and driving his team 75 yards with the game on the line. Taking the team 80, 85 yards or whatever it was in overtime. Actually, 75 yards in overtime. It's me seeing that. Seeing the pinpoint passes, whether it be to James White, to Edelman. And by the way, that was a great miraculous catch by Edelman, but the catch before that was sensational as well. It's seeing Chris Hogan smart enough to come back to the football to prevent Tom Brady's pass in the flat down on the left side from getting intercepted. It's seeing these boys playing against some Rough Riders in Atlanta and literally wearing them down. Now, you're going to look at several things, and you're going to have people tell you about several things here. They're going to look at several things, and they're going to use that as fodder to express to you that Atlanta was exhausted. New England ran 73 plays on the night. Atlanta had just 46 plays. New England had 20 more first downs, 200 more yards of offense, 40 more passing attempts, and held the ball for 17 more minutes. So you're going to look at that, and you're going to say to yourself, come on, Stephen A., Atlanta was just exhausted. The greatest stat that possibly tells the story is that the Falcons getting pressure on Tom Brady. They got pressure on him 17 of his first 37 dropbacks, but then only got pressure on him in 6 of his last 30 dropbacks. So because of that, and let me not act like I knew all of that. My producer extraordinaire, Jonathan Winthrop and Nuno Texiera, they put those out for me. I don't steal accolades for people. I give it to where it's due. Damn it, I didn't look it up. That's what they did. I'm just reading it to you. Because they're right. That's what happened. But let's be clear about something. That's not what I'm talking about. No matter how tired Atlanta may have been, that's not what I saw. I didn't see fatigue as their impediment. You know what I saw, John? You know what I saw, Nuno? I saw them dudes going like this. Oh, damn. Here comes Brady. That's what I saw. Oh, damn. Here comes Tom Brady. 466 yards passing. Tom Brady was sensational. This is the greatest performance I've ever seen on an NFL football field. I ain't going to lie to you. And to me, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Aaron Rodgers is still that bad man. Aaron Rodgers last night would have made plays that Tom Brady did it in the first half. I believe that. I believe as a talent, Aaron Rodgers, because of his ability to throw whether in a pocket or out of the pocket, is the greatest I've ever seen. But in terms of resume, in terms of what you do in big moments, in terms of what you have proven, Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback in NFL history. And you know the other amazing part about all of this? Are y'all ready for this? How many years have we sat here, guys, talking about how great Peyton Manning is? Do you realize that as of right now, Peyton Manning might not even go down as top 5? Has anybody thought about that? It's actually possible. It's actually possible. Now, I got to imagine he'd be in the top 5, but it's actually a question mark when you consider some of the greats and what they were able to do. And when you consider Tom Brady, Lord have mercy. It was something special to watch, y'all. It just was. 866-729-ESPN. That's 866-729-3776. To your phone calls we go. Let's go to Davidson in New York. You're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. What's up?
Hey, Stephen A. Good afternoon, brother. I'm one of your biggest fans.
Thank you.
Wanted to give you a shout out for all that you're doing. But 2 quick points, though. The first point, during that game, I don't know if you remember, there was a drive in the third quarter where Atlanta's defense had stopped New England 3 times. But each of those 3 times on that drive.
Holding penalties on all 3 occasions.
All 3 occasions. I'm like, damn, how is that possible? Let
me tell you why that matters. You know how sometimes you see holding penalties away from the play?
Yes.
The reason why I don't give you that excuse is because all 3 holding penalties were to receivers Brady was targeting.
Yes. No,
all
I
3.
agree. No,
so that's relevant.
Calls.
That's relevant.
Right. Those are legitimate calls, but it kind of just showed the experience on Atlanta's defensive side as well, because those are young cats as well. Let's remember that as well.
Which is exactly what I kept saying, that young secondary was going to make mistakes.
Right. And one more quick point before I let you go, Stephen A. Also, Matt Ryan had an opportunity to solidify the game as well. Atlanta got the ball back with 58 seconds to go. Granted, we had no timeouts left, but still, I question some of that play calling, but Matt Ryan had a chance to solidify himself as one of the best at the moment if he was able to just get us into field goal range. What do you think about that?
Well, you're absolutely right. I think that Matt Ryan was the league MVP. 38 touchdowns, just 7 interceptions, a quarterback rating of 117, a QBR in the 80s. I think Matt Ryan had an opportunity to position himself to be seen as a first-tier guy. We still recognize that Matt Ryan is great. We still recognize that he's a big-time quarterback. My issue with Matt Ryan, more so than anything else, is that he blew the opportunity to be mentioned and equated in the same breath as Brady because he didn't get it done. Allowing yourself to get sacked, allowing New England to overcome a 28-3 deficit where your offense virtually did nothing because you got 3 or 4 consecutive 3-and-outs, you have something to do with that. Kyle Shanahan does too. And if I'm the 49ers, I'm looking at him right now, damn, I'm about to give you a 6-year deal. And this is what you give me? I'm looking at that. But that's just me. James in New Jersey, you're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. What's up, James?
Stephen A., how you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you for calling. Talk to me.
Appreciate it. All right. I'm glad you actually mentioned coaching because that's where I'm going with it. I'm a Tom Brady hater. I'm a Patriot hater. Got no qualm about it. Had a great game. Give him all the kudos in the world. But I got to give a lot more to Belichick and McDaniels because after that first half, let's be honest, whatever plan they had basically got thrown in the trash. And they had to re-scheme in 30, 40 minutes, a whole new game plan.
Well, no. Stop, James. That's not the case in the first half. You saw how many drops they had in the first half dropping Tom Brady's passes?
No, they definitely did, but I just feel like, especially on the defensive end, they weren't able to hold.
Well, you mentioned Josh
Atlanta at points. Atlanta was driving. They were scoring.
You mentioned Josh. No. What game were you watching? They did drive and score, but also LeGarrette Blunt fumbling, and then Brady with the pick 6. That's 14 points. They only gave up 7 points as an offense. They only gave up a legitimate 7 points in the first half, as far as I'm concerned. The other 2 touchdowns were put on Brady and LeGarrette Blount. And Josh McDaniels had them moving the football. They just messed up. 866-729-3776 is the number to call. That's 866-729-ESPN. You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio. Damian Woody, Super Bowl champion with the New England Patriots, NFL analyst for ESPN. He's up next with yours truly. Don't touch that dial. It's Stephen A. in the house, the ESPN Radio.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it! Y'all don't know anything about this. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. Y'all don't know anything about that. But my next guest does. And it ain't just because he's a Super Bowl champion. It's because he's big boy. My friend, NFL analyst extraordinaire for ESPN, contributor to First Take, also Super Bowl champion formerly with the New England Patriots. The one and only Damian Woody is right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Big Tom, what's going on, man? How you doing?
The game was amazing last night. Amazing.
I never in my wildest dreams thought that I would see a performance like that. I mean, put Tom Brady's performance into words for me. I'm running out of superlatives. What did you have to say about it?
I mean, look, here's the deal. The New England Patriots were down by 25 points in the Super Bowl. Do you know how many things have to go right in order for you to win a game when you're down by 25 points? The composure that you have to have, not only from Tom Brady, but everyone. It takes everyone to do their job at a high level to overcome a deficit of 25 points in the second half. So, listen, you got to give props, all credit to the New England Patriots organization, Coach Belichick on down, having those guys prepared, making adjustments in the second half, because that was a big-time performance in the second half.
What mode of thinking do you have? Do you give most credit to New England, or do you give the blame to Atlanta? Where does your thinking reside?
Well, listen, both you can go both ways, but for New England to be able to make all those plays to get, again, down 25 in the third quarter, I don't know if people really understand how hard it is to come back from being down 25 points against a team that had a record-setting offense. That's incredibly hard to do. So, again, you have to give props to Coach Belichick to making those second-half adjustments. The defense was able to tighten up, and offensively, they were on a mission. They were on point pretty much the whole second half.
We're talking to Damian Woody, NFL analyst for ESPN, right here with Stephen A. on Sirius XM Channel 80, 98.7 FM in New York, and, of course, 710 ESPN LA, the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio. Damian, I look at Tom Brady, and I got to tell you something. I give Bill Belichick all the credit in the world because there was no panic there, although he was not pleased with some of the things that he saw. But I got to tell you something right now. Bill Belichick was sensational. Matt Patricia held it down, did a damn good job considering the circumstances. But all of that gets squashed by the greatness of Tom Brady in my mind. What about yours?
Well, listen, Tom Brady is Tom Brady. I mean, he's the most clutch, big-time quarterback that I've ever played with, that I've ever witnessed. Again, to be able to make all those plays in the second half of that game to bring that team back, it's just we saw something that we'll remember for the rest of our lives. That's how great that performance was yesterday. I mean, he set a Super Bowl record, 466 yards. I'm watching the game, and I couldn't believe that was 466 yards. They had 94 plays. They almost doubled up the Atlanta Falcons as far as plays are concerned. So, listen, it's just another game where we saw the magnificence of Tom Brady.
Damian Woody right here with Stephen A. Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports. I'm sorry, Sirius XM ESPN Radio. This is what happens when you're making that adjustment, buddy. Let's get back to Atlanta because I'm kind of wondering what kind of smear, what kind of stain this is going to have on Quinn, this is going to have on Kyle Shanahan, this is going to have on Matt Ryan, if any at all? Or are you of the mindset that, you know what, this is what happens, you're going up against Tom Brady, you just got to eat it? Or is it a situation where you're up 28-3, you blew a 25-point lead, you sit up there and you let them drive down the field, the tied in regulation, get with a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, plus they beat you in overtime? Who are you looking at right now, or do we let them off the hook because they were going up against Tom Brady?
No, we don't let them off the hook. We don't let them off the hook. I mean, they were playing so well. They were playing so fast, so confident. I honestly thought, I'm like, man, this could really be a blowout. I mean, that's how well they were playing in that first half, Stephen. Now, you saw it, I saw it. I mean, they were smoking the Patriots. But in the second half, the thing that what makes Coach Belichick so special is the in-game adjustments. And when I played under Coach Belichick, he always talked about more teams find ways to lose games than win them. And what we saw from the Atlanta Falcons, they found a way to lose the game. Just situationally, not running the ball. Like when Julio Jones caught that huge pass on the sideline, not running the ball, putting your team in position to kick a field goal. Then the sack fumble by Dante Hightower. It's the little things when you play the Patriots, because when you make that mistake, they pounced and they capitalized on it. And that sack fumble really turned things around for the Patriots. And once they got that momentum going, it seemed like the Atlanta Falcons couldn't get back on track the rest of the game.
Who do you point the finger at in that particular instance, though, Damian? Because it's one of those situations where Matt Ryan should have gotten rid of the ball, but Kyle Shanahan shouldn't have called the 7-step drop back, and Quinn shouldn't have allowed it because the buck stops with him. I mean, who do you look at in a situation with a play like that, where all it would have taken is 2 running plays to kill the clock, kick the field goal, and you would have been a 2-possession game, assuming Matt Bryant would have converted, which he normally has done?
Well, you listen, in a situation like that, you always start with the head guy. The head guy is he's the one responsible for, everything that goes on in game. So you start with Dan Quinn. Listen, Kyle Shanahan has been a big-time coordinator. He was the assistant coach of the year, voted on by his peers. In critical moments in that Super Bowl, when the lights were shining the brightest, he messed up. Because sometimes when you have a record-setting offense that the Atlanta Falcons have, you lose focus of situational football. If he had just ran football, even if the Atlanta Falcons didn't gain a yard, he would have gave Matt Bryant, his kicker, the opportunity to put the Falcons up by 10, a 2-possession game. Now you're talking about the clock being a detriment to the Patriots. So when you look at the totality of the whole thing, you blame Dan Quinn. You can blame Kyle Shanahan. You can blame Matt Ryan, because as a veteran, you should know you can't take a sack in that area of the field. It just puts you out of field goal range. So all three of them deserve blame.
I got you. Damian Woody, before I let you get on out of here, I can't imagine a greater moment for Tom Brady than what we witnessed last night. Donovan McNabb is of the mindset he should just walk away and call it quits, because there is no moment higher than this. What do you think?
Hell no. Man, listen, the way he's been playing, man, like Tom always said, the next championship is always the best championship. So why man, keep playing until the wheels fall off. That's my suggestion.
Always appreciate you, Damian. Thanks so much, buddy. Thanks a lot.
Oh, thank you.
Take it easy. The one and only Damian Woody, NFL analyst for ESPN, right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. 866-729-ESPN is the number to call up. It's 866-729-3776. Back with your phone calls and more, talking about Super Bowl 51. I know a lot of you got some comments. I'm going to try to get to you. You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Back to the phones we go, right here in the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio. The ultimate New England Patriots critic is a guy from Massachusetts. His name is Carlton, and he's on the line with yours truly right now. Good afternoon, Carlton. How are you?
Oh, gosh.
Oh, you're depressed because I know that Bill Belichick, once again, has proven to doubters like yourself and others wrong, displaying his greatness along with that of Tom Brady. Yet again, I understand it is hard for you, but go ahead.
I'm despondent. The New England Patriots are the undead of the NFL. If you do not drive a stake into their evil hearts, they will keep coming back at you over and over again. And Atlanta had at least 6 opportunities in the last 20 minutes of that game to drive a stake in the Patriots' hearts, and they just failed repeatedly. You know, there were the 2 holding calls on Jake Matthews, the left tackle, both of which were within field goal range when they occurred that pushed them back. There was the sack on Matt Ryan that pushed them out of field goal range. There was Devontae Freeman whiffing on Hightower on the strip sack of Ryan, which gave him the short field.
Keep going.
And then on Tom Brady's last 2 touchdown drives, including the one in overtime, he gave them 2 opportunities to pick off the ball. Edelman was triple teamed on that magical reception of his. Alford got both hands on the ball. Then it bounces off of Alfred's leg, and then it bounces off
These are things that happen. These are things that happen. I didn't hear you complaining about that when Kurtz caught that acrobatic catch against the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl before Pete Carroll 2 plays later forgot to give the ball to Marshawn Lynch or stupidly decided to throw it. These are things that happen in the game, Carlton.
No, but that wasn't a bad throw by the quarterback. Brady put that ball where it shouldn't have been. He threw it at triple coverage. Alfred got both hands on it if he catches the ball. And again, it wasn't off his fingertips. It was off his hands. Or if it goes up in the air and one of the 3 Falcons who are right there picks it off, as opposed to Julian Edelman getting it on the double bounce. And then one final point that nobody's going to mention because, you know, we're overlooking it all because we rewrite history for the winners.
Go ahead.
First down at the 2-yard line, Brady throws a fade to Bennett that Vic Beasley could have easily.
No. Vic Beasley, that wasn't easy. He stretched out. He was a bit shorter, and it was. I mean, he tried. He didn't drop. Hold on, wait a minute. He didn't drop it in the.
No, you're right. It deflected off his arm, but he got his hand behind that
fingertips. His fingertips.
Horrible call, though, Stephen A. You got to admit.
It was a horrible call, but it happened.
Bad call. They almost gave the Falcons the ball.
You're whining yet again. Are you willing to acknowledge the greatness of Tom Brady and Bill Belichick? Yes or no?
You got to kill him. You got to kill him. And the Falcons had numerous opportunities to kill him, and they didn't do it, which means the evil undead walks upon us for their 5th Super Bowl championship.
I got you. I appreciate your call, Carlton. I'm very sorry. My condolences to you. There is no bigger hatred for the Patriots emanating from anyone more so than Carlton from Massachusetts. I mean, I allow him to call up in here. He's incredibly knowledgeable. He's a great caller. But, I mean, there is no objectivity coming from him when it comes to the Patriots. I think Jonathan Winthrop and Nuno Texiera can confirm that. There is no objectivity coming from Carlton about the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick. He says that he won't stop cheating. He won't stop. That's what he said. That's what he said years ago. But it is what it is. The New England Patriots are truly America's team, ladies and gentlemen. 10 AFC championships, 7 Super Bowl appearances, 5 titles in the last 15 years. There's nothing to say. Hour number 2 up next.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM Channel 80 and the ESPN app.
I'm Andy Katz from ESPN, along with my co-host Rick Klein of ABC News. On the latest edition of Capital Game, we're going to discuss President Trump's controversial executive order and discuss it with Iowa's Peter Jock and SI.com's Michael McCann.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. Stephen A. Smith Show right here with you on ESPN Radio, coming at you as I love to do every weekday afternoon. Unless you're in L.A., listening to 710 ESPN L.A., of course, then it would be morning time. 10 a.m., 12 noon. 98.7 FM in New York from 1 to 3. And, of course, Sirius XM, nationwide, ESPN Radio, Channel 80. 866-729-ESPN is always the number to call up. That's 866-729-3776. Before I get back to the phones, wanted to transition a little bit from the Super Bowl, staying with football, but talking about the Hall of Fame. Congratulations to the inductees, which included Kurt Warner and LaDainian Tomlinson, Kenny Easley and others. Of course, Jerry Jones as a contributor. Appreciate their service to the National Football League, especially when it comes to LT and when it comes to Kurt Warner. And by the way, Terrell Davis, too, who was just as deserving. Let's make sure we put that out there. Having said all of that, however, let me say this. I got to tell you. The fact that Terrell Owens is not in the Hall of Fame is a travesty. As far as I'm concerned, it wouldn't bother me one bit if media members and all those folks, whether it's 46 or 48 members, if they all had their rights confiscated. The right to vote on the Hall of Fame. It is an absolute positive disgrace. Without question. I got to tell you something right now. I'm disgusted. I cannot believe it. The only thing that disgusts me just as much as not more, and obviously the two don't even compare, there's an individual that was bothering Tom Brady's mom. I thought that was inexcusable. Leave the lady alone. I know she's, happy for her son and what have you, but obviously she's going through a lot. We learned that she's been experiencing chemo for a while. And I got to tell you, as somebody whose mother struggles with that every day, I would not appreciate if somebody threw a camera and a microphone in my mother's face. It would have been a problem if it was my mom. But I digress. Back to Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens doesn't have the greatest reputation. By some, he was labeled a locker room cancer and, all of this other stuff, and I get that. Never won a Super Bowl championship. I get that, too. He wasn't the greatest teammate in some folks' eyes, whereas in others, they thought he was a great teammate. So the fact that it's debatable, look, I understand that. But you know what's not debatable? The 6 Pro Bowl selections he earned. How he holds or shares several National Football League records. How his 15,934 career receiving yards ranks him second all-time in NFL history. How the 153 touchdowns that he caught in his career are third all-time. So let me get this straight. You're a receiver. Throughout the entire history of the National Football League, you are a receiver who finishes second all-time in yards accumulated and third all-time in touchdowns accumulated. Ladies and gentlemen, you telling me this man doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame? Do you have any idea how senseless that is? Huh? Are you kidding me? Second all-time in receptions, third all-times third all-times in touchdowns, and you're not in the Hall of Fame? Do you have any idea how disgraceful that is? I'll tell you something. I got to tell y'all something. You see, it's stuff like this when the moral police comes out there. This is why you despise the media. And I can't believe I have to sit up here and talk about my own brethren, the fourth estate, which I'm a part of. Ladies and gentlemen, let me get personal here. Contrary to what you may believe, I'm actually an incredibly nice guy. I mean, don't tell nobody, but it's true. I'm actually an incredibly nice guy. And I'll call it like I see it. Please don't get me wrong. But I swear to you, on the life of my mother, on the soul of my brother, with every fiber of my being, I have never, ever allowed whatever personal animus I may have towards a few people, only a few people that I've had that animus towards in my career to affect my ability to see their level of production and judge them fairly and accordingly towards it. I'm good with T.O. T.O. and I are pretty cool. We just talked the other day in Houston. But even if we weren't cool, even if we didn't speak, I would never deny that the man is a Hall of Famer. I would never deny the record books he's a part of. And again, it's not because just I'm a nice guy. I mean, I'm a beautiful guy. I got a really good heart. I mean, don't tell nobody, but it's the truth. It really is. I mean, I handle my business at all, but I'm actually a really nice guy. Even if I was not, nothing would take away from me judging this guy accordingly. And for T.O., Terrell Owens, to be number 2 all-time in the record books in receiving yards, number 3 all-time with 153 touchdowns, for that man to be on the outside looking in at the Hall of Fame is a disgrace. It shows that we're not what we're supposed to be as media members. Far be it for me to say something, but then again, I could say it because, see, y'all see me, y'all listen to me on this radio station, y'all see me on TV, y'all forget the fact that I've been a reporter for 24 years, that I made my bones in reporting, that unlike dudes today who just get to go on the air and bloviate and pontificate and editorialize, I actually broke stories. That's how I got here. I actually broke news stories. I actually had a license and an obligation to disseminate objective news. I did it for over 15 years. To see people allowing their personal feelings to impair their judgment towards this man is disgraceful. This is America. We're supposed to be a land of meritocracy. We're supposed to be about the business of pursuing fairness and judging people according to their actions and their deeds. What has happened to us? All of yous. All of yous. What has happened to us? If you can ignore this man and the numbers he put up, who's next? Who's next? And what bogus reason will you have in store at that time? 866-729-ESPN. That's 866-729-3776. People should be ashamed of themselves. They really should. The biggest medical center on earth isn't found on the East Coast or the West Coast. It's found in Houston, Texas, America's third coast. Houston is home to the Texas Medical Center, or as they call it, TMC. It's the largest medical city on the planet. Each year, the TMC's 21 hospitals serve over 8 million patients. Its 3 medical schools and 6 nursing schools educate tomorrow's medical leaders. More doctors, nurses, and scientists work at the TMC than any other site in the world. With over 100,000 employees, it's the 8th largest business district in America. Every 30 minutes, a surgery begins at the TMC. Every 20 minutes, a baby is born. The Texas Medical Center leads the world in clinical research. TMC doctors and scientists are at the forefront of life-saving medical advances, developing new treatments, drugs, and devices to improve the health of humanity. So find out more about the innovations happening at the Texas Medical Center. You'll find it at tmc.edu. More of your phone calls on Super Bowl 51 on the greatness of Tom Brady, on the travesty that involves T.O. being left out of the Hall of Fame. All that and more up next with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio.
Hey, football fans, this is Mel Kiper Jr. on the latest First Draft podcast. Todd McShay. Chris Sproul and I discuss the Senior Bowl standouts and also weigh in on where some of the top-rated quarterbacks will land in this year's draft.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I mean what I say when I spoke about Terrell Owens. It's a travesty. It's a travesty that he's not a member of the Hall of Fame. No disrespect to the entries that actually made it. But there's no way he should not have been one of them. By the way, congratulations to Dak Prescott. Basically, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Great performance by him. Ezekiel Elliott deserved major praise, no question about it. And, of course, we had a great Super Bowl. And, by the way, speaking of just a great year, hasn't this been a great year in sports? Game 7, Cubs winning the World Series. Game 7, LeBron coming back from a 3-1 deficit with the Cleveland Cavaliers and them knocking off the Golden State Warriors. You got all of that going on. So the Super Bowl, the national championship, which happened in the same stadium, when Villanova and Jenkins hit that game-winning shot to win the national championship over North Carolina. I mean, everywhere you turn, I mean, what a fantastic year in sports it has been. And the NFL basically saved itself. Scrutiny about diminished ratings and all of this other stuff. I mean, this Super Bowl was epic. How many people you think watched it? What was it, about 100, 110 million? I mean, how many folks? I don't know I think it was about 111 million people watched the Super Bowl. 111 million. All those are things we got to consider moving forward. Stephen A. Smith Show right here on ESPN Radio. Let's get back to the phones, man. Let's go to Ronald in New York. You're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. What's up, Ronald?
Hey, my brother. How you doing?
I'm good. Talk to me.
All right. I didn't call about the T.O. situation, but I just want to say, there are certain things that are ridiculous in sports. Sports writers who are allowed to hold grudges and cast votes, that needs to be eliminated. It's ridiculous that man is not in, but that's for another day. I just want to say, Stephen A., let me tell you something. I've watched sports for 56 years of my life, and, I'm a New Yorker. I lived in Atlanta for 32 years. I'm back in New York now. I'm a Cowboy follower. But I'm telling you, when you see greatness, when it comes to sports history, you got to take a pause and stop pointing fingers. We can analyze all we want. But what we saw last night, Damian Woody hit on some major points if you played the game. We won't see that again, not like that. Your favorite quarterback can be whoever it is in history. They didn't do it like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I got so many emotions. I got so many people that are heartbroken in the city of Atlanta right now. I just have to allow them to hurt for as long as they need to hurt, because that's a tough one. 25 points down. I'm telling you,
that's a tough one, Ronald. But I will tell you this: to me, Seattle is still tougher. You're at the half-yard line with a Super Bowl championship on the line, and all you got to do is give it to beast mode. That's a hell of a lot different than going the last 22 minutes watching Brady's footsteps come closer and closer and closer to your own precipice. There's a difference there. There's a difference.
Stephen, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm telling you, with the dominance as you and I have you've observed, I put it out there last night. In what we saw for 2.5 quarters, we saw complete dominance as far as talent, speed, hunger, and all of a sudden, here came that man. And when you know that man is on the other side and he's coming, there's a thing when you play sports called momentum. I've seen momentum shift before, but I'm telling you, something happened, and with the leadership that guy provokes over those guys that he plays with, I got to give it to him as being the greatest, man.
I got to give it up to him now, too. I kept holding out for Montana, but he gave me that Montana moment now. I can't hold it against him no more. He's got it for me. I appreciate the call, Ronald. Thank you so much. Andreas in Indiana, you're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Andreas, talk to me.
Yeah, Stephen A. Huge fan. I'm so glad you're on ESPN Radio now, and I'm listening to you in my car in the XM 80. I just want to say something about Brady. I'm a huge Colts fan, so needless to say, I've never really liked Brady. Okay.
Okay.
But what he did yesterday, completely changed my mind about him. He is, without a doubt, one of the best, if not the best quarterback of all time. So, right? I've only been in this country since 1990. I grew up in Germany, so real football was my thing. Now American football, I really, really love that sport. But I am just, my wife and I were flabbergasted by what transpired yesterday in that game.
We all were. We sit here utterly amazed, Andreas. Utterly amazed. There's no question about it. You're absolutely right. Brady's the greatest. He's the greatest, Andreas. He's the greatest. Jason in Queens, you're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. What's up, Jason?
Hey, what's going on, Stephen A?
No. Put some bass in your voice, man. Talk up louder, man. My listeners are listening to you nationwide. We ain't trying to hear you whisper. Come on, bro. Give it to me.
My fault, man.
Go ahead.
Fault. Yeah. So I just wanted to touch on the simple fact that Devontae Freeman came out and said that was not his assignment to pick up Dante Hightower. And then Kyle Shanahan came out and said right after that it was his assignment. And I kind of have to lean towards the
Hold on. What did Shanahan say?
Shanahan said that it was Freeman's assignment. So they basically are going against what each other said.
Well, that's not good for Devontae Freeman. That's not good for Devontae Freeman.
I honestly feel like I would have to believe Devontae Freeman only because if you look at the play, it's not like he picked up Hightower and then left. As soon as the ball was snapped, Freeman ran off to go run the route.
No, he didn't. He touched Hightower but didn't put forth the block. No, he did not do that. That is not accurate. He was supposed to block Dante Hightower. At least that's how I look. He did not just run off. He literally clipped Dante Hightower, but it wasn't forceful enough. Not to mention the fact that the offensive coordinator is responsible for making sure everybody, so it ultimately falls on Shanahan because you're ultimately responsible for making sure everybody knows it. But I'll be damned if I'm going to believe Dante Freeman ahead of Kyle Shanahan on that one. Chances are the offensive coordinator knows what the hell he's talking about.
Even so, as dysfunctional as the 49ers are, I don't think Kyle Shanahan should go out and throw his players under the bus like that.
Well, again, wait. Again, you can't say that. Because if he just walked up on a news podium and said that Devontae Freeman was supposed to pick up Dante Hightower, that would be different. But if you're the offensive coordinator and you gave a player an assignment and that player goes out publicly and says it wasn't my responsibility to block, well, then now you've opened yourself to that critique because you were the one that put it out on Front Street that, you tried to imply that wasn't your assignment, that wasn't your job, when in fact it may have been. I'm not holding Shanahan accountable for coming to his own defense based on a public declaration by one of his subordinates. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and watch the tape. Thanks a lot, Steve.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. 866-729-ESPN is the number to call up. It's 866-729-3776. Did the Patriots win it or did the Falcons blow it? That's the question for Super Bowl 51. Are you ready to elevate Brady to being the greatest quarterback of all time? That's another question for the Stephen A. Smith Show right here on ESPN Radio. And, of course, Terrell Owens not being inducted into the Hall of Fame. The moral police is out, and they make me want to throw up. More of your phone calls in a minute with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it! Back to the phones right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio. Let's go to Freddie in Philadelphia. You're live with Stephen A. What's going on, Freddie? How are you?
Stephen A., God bless you. I love your show. I want to make two quick points. Number one, these coaches get paid millions of dollars. And for the life of me, I can't understand how you were up 25 points in the second half of a Super Bowl, and you got an MVP quarterback, you got two stud running backs, and you're not running the ball. Because if you run the ball, you win. If you can't, Tom Brady can't score if he doesn't have the football. Second thing I want to say.
Bad call on Quinn's part and Kyle Shanahan's part. No question. Go ahead.
Second point I want to make. A while ago, you had Ray Lewis on your show, and I listened to Mad Dog Sports, and he talked about when Stuart Scott didn't die, he talked about how cancer didn't win. And I need to thank you because when I listened to that, my aunt was going through it at that time, and I ministered that to her. And ever since then, your show has become deeper than just sports. So I want to thank you because I learned that day that from Ray Lewis what he said that how he said that disease didn't win, it brought me to a level of understanding that life is bigger than just sports. And when I ministered that to my aunt, by the grace of God, she survived that. So I need to thank you for having him on that day because it got deeper than just sports in general. God bless you, brother.
God bless you, Freddie. I appreciate the call. Thank you so much. Let's go to Daniel in New Jersey. You're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Daniel, how are you?
I'm good, Stephen A. Big fan, by the way. Love you in General Hospital.
Thank you, sir. Hey, I was getting ready to ask you that question, Danielle. How did I do Friday when I was on General Hospital? How did I do?
You did good. You did good. You always have done good. I love it. It's always funny to see you on there. And I know you've been watching it forever, you said,
By
right?
the way, thank you so much. I'll be back on Wednesday.
Perfect. I DVR it.
Thank you so much. Go ahead.
Listen, I'm a huge Chiefs head. I'm a Packer fan, diehard. Aaron Rodgers the sun rises and sets on him. McCarthy, love him, their way. But you got to give props to the Patriots. Kraft, Belichick, and Brady. I don't think that we are ever going to see another quarterback forget 7 Super Bowls, but win 5. And he's not done. They're going to try and re-up him 3-5 more years. And I just, I'm not a Brady lover. I'm not a hater, but just got to give props to the whole organization. I just thought yesterday was great.
I got to admit to you. I mean, I've gotten to that point. I think that Brady's the greatest. I still think that from a talent perspective, Aaron Rodgers is one of a kind. But in terms of resume, level of production, leadership, those kind of intangibles, Brady's on another level than everybody. He is the best in the business. By the way, while I have everybody listening, I mean, I always have everybody listening, Danielle. You know that. The thing is that you saw those loud boos that Roger Goodell received. You know what? He's got to take it. He's got to take it. And I thought that Brady and Belichick and everybody handled it with class, and they left it to Robert Kraft, the owner for the Patriots, to basically speak for them and what he said. We've been through a lot. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows why. And it was just something that was special, and I give a lot of credit where credit is due in that regard. Danielle, thank you so much for the call. I appreciate it. You take care of yourself.
All right. Thanks, Stephen A.
All right, let's go to Andre in California. You're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. What's up, Andre?
Hey, not much. How you doing, Stephen A? Request permission to enter the room of intelligence.
Go ahead.
Hey, real quick, shout out to T.O. If I had to vote for him in the Hall of Fame, from the hell to the no. I'm sorry, man. When you're inducted into the Hall of Fame, that's because you brought something to the game. Did he make some accomplishments? Absolutely. Did he take away from the game? Most definitely.
What did he take away from the game?
He was a cancer. 3 different. How many different teams did he go to?
Well, he went to the San Francisco.
Every single one.
Hold on. I'm going to answer your question. He went to the San Francisco 49ers. They were not that good. Jeff Garcia was their quarterback. Mariucci, a good man, a good coach. He was their coach, but they didn't have much. He goes to Philadelphia. And what happens? He sits up there and has an incredible season, gets injured for the playoffs, but comes back for the Super Bowl and plays the game of his life on one leg. But they couldn't beat New England and Tom Brady. Okay. Then he goes, he goes to Dallas. They're balling. He leaves. They have 3 8-8 seasons. Okay. He goes to Cincinnati. He's better than Chad Ochocinco in terms of route running and things of that nature. He wasn't perfect, Andre, and I do understand that. But we've had drunks. We've had abusers. We've had all type of individuals with challenged morals, etc. I would even give you what you're saying if he's a quarterback. He is a wide receivers. Most of them would tell you they're all divas. But in the end, he went out there and performed where he's second all-time in receptions, third all-time in touchdowns. For him not to have received Hall of Fame induction is an absolute travesty because it gives folks a license to ignore on-field production for their own preferences in terms of how you should act. And I think that's a very dangerous position for you to take.
You know, but on a personal level, I wish nothing but the best for the man. But as a player,
but the point is this.
But as a player, I got
wait a minute. With all due respect, you're thinking his ass backwards. And here's why. On a personal level, you don't know him and he doesn't know you. So the point is that all you should be judging him by is professionally. And all you have to go on professionally is his on-field production and hearsay about what people have said about him. Because in every single one of those locker rooms, I can tell you that there are players who said he was a Hall of Famer. Donovan McNabb was on my show on First Take on ESPN every weekday morning from 10 a.m. to 12 noon Eastern Time. Donovan McNabb got into it more with T.O. than arguably anybody. And Donovan McNabb even said, despite all of that, there is no question it's a travesty that he is not a Hall of Famer. Now, this is a quarterback that couldn't stand T.O. Let's remember that.
Okay.
Take it easy. Have a good day.
Deep.
Go ahead, Dre. I'm sorry. Oh, I apologize. Dre's finished. Let's go to Josh in Houston. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Josh?
Stephen A. Stephen A. Man, what a game, brother. I mean, I was completely blown away. I was going for Atlanta, but I honestly have to say, I was going for Atlanta, but Tom Brady, because I've been a fan since back with Law and Woodhead and all of them, but he earned my respect. I mean, last night, he came back and took over a complete game like he was a basketball star coming down. This is football. What he did, setting the bar so high for these young quarterbacks to come, it's going to be hell to reach that. And for him not to be MVP, he got his payback because he got booed. They won. He came back. And he has set the standard for NFL quarterbacks. If you want to be the best, that's what you got to achieve. I seen you on CNN, too, man. You look good over there.
I appreciate that,
politics,
man. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you talking about when I was on with Michael Smirkanish this past Saturday morning. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the call. 866-729-ESPN is the number to call up. That's 866-729-3776. Your phone calls to close out the show in a minute. Talking Super Bowl 51, the greatness of Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, the flaws of the Atlanta Falcons, and, of course, the Hall of Fame snub of Terrell Owens. All that and more up next with Stephen A., ESPN Radio.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Right here with Stephen A. Smith on ESPN Radio, 866-729. ESPN is the number to call up. That's 866-729-3776, 710 ESPN LA, 98.7 FM in New York City, and, of course, Sirius XM nationwide on ESPN Radio, channel number 80. Back to the phones. Let's go to Lewis in New Jersey. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Lewis?
Hey, how you doing, Smith?
I'm all right. Go ahead, man.
Hey, man. All morning I've been hearing about T.O., and the man is literally, just like you said, he has to be judged on what he did on the field. The man is, if you don't think he's a top 3 all time, there's something wrong with you. You shouldn't even be in that room voting. I mean, and then you want to sit there and say, oh, it's because of his character. Man, we have people that did drugs out in the open. People went to court for it in the Hall of Fame. I don't want to throw any names out there because there's no point of doing that. I mean, next year when Randy Moss goes in, Randy Moss is essentially the same way, and he's going to go in. I know for a fact he's going to go in. And T.O. should be there already. He shouldn't even have to wait.
I agree. I have nothing to add to that, Lewis. I appreciate the call. Thank you so much. Fly in Dallas, you're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. What's up, Fly?
Hey, what's going on, Steve?
Talk to me.
Yo, I'm a born and bred New Yorker. I'm in Dallas right now, but I'm born and bred New Yorker, South Bronx.
I ain't mad at you for that. No state income taxes. You save your money being down in Dallas. I understand. But, there's only one New York, baby. It's only one New York.
Yeah, only one. They can check that. People come close, but they can't get it.
There you go.
But on the T.O. situation, man, it's like the last caller said. You got a lot of fellas that's gonna come up in the Hall of Fame eventually, maybe the next 10, 15, 20 years, man. somebody like a Roethlisberger to get up there, that gets up there? Are they going to address the things that he did off the field when they start voting for him? Are they even going to pay attention? I mean, not throwing anybody under the bus.
Well, what you're going to hear is that accusations never involved any arrest or anything like that. But also you're also going to hear that's not something that's about the locker room. T.O., what's being held against T.O. is his locker room tendencies and how he was cancerous to teams. I'm not buying that. If he was so cancerous, why would he be so productive?
That speaks to the same thing I'm trying to say. When it comes down, I'm not trying to draw no line. I'm really not. But it seems like there's always a higher standard held for certain players, and I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
As compared to other ones.
Yes, I do.
Say the moral police, like you call them, come stepping out when it comes to certain group of players.
Well, in fairness to my colleagues, somebody like Mike Golick on ESPN Radio this morning, with Mike and Mike, he said that. He was echoing the words moral police, and I totally agree with him. So I don't want to take credit away from him because he's the one that said that, because he equally feels, as I do, that it's an absolute travesty that Terrell Owens is not in the Hall of Fame.
There are young kids coming out of college right now that could do anywhere half as well as Terrell did on the field. Judge that man on what he did on the field. Who cares what happened in the locker room? You got so many egos in the locker room, and nobody's going to get along with each other at all times. But when it comes down to what that man did on the field, that man is not only a Hall of Famer, he's a superstar, and it's going to be a long time before anybody comes out of college touching his records.
I'm with you. I appreciate the call, man. Thank you so much. Let's go to David in Manhattan. You're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. What's up, David?
Hi, Stephen A. Love your show.
Thank you. Go ahead, buddy.
Two questions. I've been a Miami Dolphins fan for over 35 years, since before Marino was in the league, and I just wanted to get your take on Jason Taylor making the Hall of Fame first ballot. And secondly, there was reports that came out before the Super Bowl that Bob Kraft and Bill Belichick discussed his retirement, and we know that Josh McDaniel turned down head coaching jobs. I was wondering if you think that he's going to be retiring maybe after next season, and that they're grooving Josh McDaniel to take over.
I think Bill Belichick loves football too much. I don't see him walking away. I see him sticking around for a few more years. Right. That's my position. I think when you get in a moment and you think about a high, like the high they got yesterday, you find yourself saying, how am I going to sit up there and eclipse this? I mean, I think that's what you do. But ultimately, I'm just of the mindset that, listen, man, I just believe, hey, Bill Belichick's going to be around. As for Jason Taylor, it's hard to argue with his career. He's had a 15-year career. The guy had 139 and a half sacks.
Yep.
139 and a half sacks in his NFL career. And at least 6 seasons, he had double-digit sacks, including the league-leading 18 and a half in 2002.
And 9 touchdowns.
Listen, I can't say that, oh, my God, he comes across as that kind of a difference maker, but the numbers say he's a Hall of Famer.
Right.
Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate the call. Larry in Maryland, you're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. What's up, Larry?
Hey, Stephen, I was saying that you're right. T.O. should be in based on his numbers, but we've seen in the past how the media holds people out. Jim Rice was not a media favorite when he was in Boston.
What about Eddie Murray? Let's not forget
Eddie
him.
Murray.
Yep.
All great players in their rights in their own divisions, but the media didn't like them, so they didn't get him in. T.O. is deserving to be in the league, in the Hall of Fame.
That's the bottom line.
All T.O. stuff has nothing to do with nothing.
That's the bottom line. I completely agree with you, Larry. Thank you so much. Andrew in New York, you're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. What's up, Andrew?
What's up, Stephen A? I want to switch it up a little bit. I want to talk about Dak Prescott and see your opinion on if he truly deserved the Rookie of the Year.
Well, I think it should have been co-rookie. I think it should have been co-rookie of the year between him and Ezekiel Elliott.
So my thing is, Ezekiel Elliott was a top 5 running back. He was one of the top 5 for MVP. So wouldn't that make him the runner-up, like the automatic decision for Rookie of the Year?
I don't know. I think you're dissecting it a little bit too tough. I think they deserve co-rookie of the year, but I don't think either deserve league MVP. It's just that simple to me. Joe in Buffalo, you're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Real quick, Joe, go ahead.
Hey, Stephen A. Just wanted to first off say thank you for all that you do, and I love watching and listening to all that you got to say, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Hey, just wanted to get your opinion on when people say now that Tom Brady should retire. And here's my view on it, my quick point. I kind of compare him to Peyton Manning, where last year when he won the Super Bowl, I think he needed to retire. He left everything out there. He left it all out in the field. And I think Tom Brady, to tell you the truth, I think he's got 2 to 3 more years to him.
All right. I appreciate the call. Joe, I agree with you. I think that Tom Brady looked like he could go 2 or 3 more years, at least. Unlike Brady, who desperately needed to retire because physically he seemed beat up and definitely compromised. That's not the case with Tom Brady. Tom Brady threw for 466 yards in a Super Bowl. Tom Brady was absolutely sensational. Tom Brady looks all world, looks like the best football player ever. And he still has more to go, more ways to go. I'm sorry. If I'm Tom Brady, I'll stick around too. I'm enjoying playing the game. I'm getting paid for doing it. Why not stick around? Why not stick around? I'll holler at y'all in 22 hours from now. Thank y'all for being with me today. Congratulations to the New England Patriots. Talk to you tomorrow. Peace and love. Stephen A.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the